Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Julia Andre. I'm a clinical psychologist with a deep passion for healing trauma. In today's video, we talk about a topic that touches so many of us, often beneath the surface. We talk about the connection between shame and trauma. So if you experience any sense of not being good enough or carry any other invisible scars from the past, this video is for you. Reason number one, trauma attacks our sense of self-worth. So very often when we're in a traumatic event, we not only blame the circumstances, but start blaming ourselves to regain any sense of control over the situation. But this false blame on yourself would lead to more shame and ultimately believing that you are actually the problem. Reason number two is that trauma makes us powerless. And powerless is often something we don't want to feel, whether it's from a car accident, ongoing neglect, or abuse. But that sense of powerless, we learn, is something that is not good and not accepted in society, and often leaves us with this lingering feeling of shame or inferiority, or actually not feeling good enough or even defective. And this is another problem why we would carry that sense of shame with us after a traumatic event. Reason number three, chronic shame is often a survival strategy. If we grow up in a chaotic environment that is not very safe and stable, especially as a child, using shame and blaming ourselves is a way to stay safe. And it's also much easier to believe if I just going to do the right thing, so if I'm the problem and I do it right, then maybe I can earn their love. So shame is almost a protection to stay attached to your caregiver in a very unsafe and chaotic environment. Reason number four, trauma creates isolation and shame thrives in silence. So very often when we experience a traumatic event and we carry this associated shame with us, we want to hide. We don't want to show this to people, and as less as we show and talk about this, as more internally that sense of shame can grow. And since we don't get any counter evidence or reality check from other people, it has the perfect nourishing ground to really develop and become bigger and bigger. The less we talk about the shame and the trauma, the problem is also that we believe if we're going to share this with other people, they might think there's actually something wrong with us, or fundamentally wrong. And it's almost we need to hide it, because when we share it, it means maybe we did something wrong. And that would create additional sense of shame. Reason number five is that shame distorts not only our memory, but also our identity. So if we start to memorize the traumatic event, maybe I did something wrong or I could have changed something, in this way it becomes our new identity, and we carry this with us, and we also call this trauma identity. So we actually start believing that we are the problem, although the outset, the actual event that was done to us is the problem. So if you just maybe take one thing from this video today, is shame doesn't make you broken. It's not neither shame is your identity, but we always need to remember that the events that happen to you, it's not your fault, and we need to learn to detangle shame from the actual traumatic events, so that healing is actually possible. So thank you so much for watching today, and if you want to watch any of our other videos, please look below.